Most changelogs are noise, bug fixes, dependency bumps, a new keyboard shortcut nobody asked for. The August 19th entry from Cursor was different. 2 items buried in the usual list. First, cloud agents can now subscribe to external events, pull requests, Slack threads, scheduled cron jobs. Second, sub-agents can run in parallel, each on its own isolated virtual machine. Read separately, they're incremental. Read together, they describe something that is no longer an editor. Nobody announced a strategy shift, but the shape of the product changed anyway, and the implications land hardest on the people with the smallest teams. Context matters. Cursor shipped version 1.0 in June 2025, taking background agents, remote agents running in the cloud rather than on your laptop, out of preview. A Slack integration followed, letting you summon an agent by mentioning it in a channel. Then Cursor 2.0, in late October 2025, rebuilt the interface around agents instead of files, and made running several at once a first-class workflow. Each release moved the same direction, away from a human typing in a buffer, toward a human directing work that happens elsewhere. August 19th is the continuation of that line, not a departure from it. Strip away the marketing and the change is narrow but real. Previously, a cloud agent needed a human to start it. You opened a tab, wrote a prompt, hit go. An event-driven agent starts itself. A pull request opens, the agent wakes. A message lands in a Slack thread, the agent wakes. A cron expression fires at 3 in the morning, the agent wakes. That's it. That's the feature. The prompt is no longer typed, it's triggered. But the removal of the human keystroke is precisely what converts a tool into a process. Tools wait, processes run. For a team of 40, this is convenience. For a team of 1, it's leverage, and that's the more interesting case. Think about what a solo founder actually loses sleep over. Dependency updates that pile up until they're a migration. Flaky tests nobody triages. Bug reports arriving in Slack at midnight. Documentation drifting out of sync. None of these require judgment. All of them require attention, the scarcest resource an indie hacker has. Scheduled agents can drain that queue overnight and leave pull requests waiting in the morning. The founder's role shifts from doing the work to reviewing it. That's a genuine change in what one person can hold. The second change is more technical and, arguably, more consequential. Running multiple agents at once has always been possible. The problem was collision. Agents editing the same files, fighting over the same working directory, corrupting each other's state. Earlier approaches leaned on Git work trees to keep changes separated on a single machine. Separate, isolated virtual machines are a stronger boundary. Each sub-agent gets its own file system, its own processes, its own environment. That solves a coordination problem, but it also, almost incidentally, solves a security problem, and that's the part worth slowing down for. Security researcher Simon Willison coined the phrase, the lethal trifecta, in June 2025 to describe when AI agents become dangerous. When a system has access to private data, exposure to untrusted content, and the ability to communicate externally, all at once. Event-driven agents walk straight into that overlap. A pull request from an outside contributor is untrusted content. A Slack thread is untrusted content. If an agent reads either and holds your credentials and can push code, the trifecta is complete. Isolation doesn't eliminate prompt injection. Nothing currently does. What it does is bound the blast radius. One compromised sub-agent contaminates one VM, not the whole run. Several caveats deserve stating plainly. Parallel agents multiply output, not correctness. 5 pull requests generated overnight still require one human to read 5 pull requests. The bottleneck moves. it doesn't vanish. Isolated VMs cost compute, and compute is billed. Background automation that runs whether or not you need it is a spend curve, not a free win. And this is not continuous integration. Existing CI systems are deterministic, auditable, and boring by design. An agent triggered on the same event will not necessarily do the same thing twice. Whether that trade-off is acceptable depends entirely on what the agent is permitted to touch. Here's the structural point. An editor is something you open. Infrastructure is something that runs whether you're watching or not. With triggers on one side and isolated execution on the other, Cursor now occupies the space traditionally held by CI pipelines, job schedulers, and internal developer platforms, the layer between intent and deployment. Competitors are converging on the same territory from different starting points. Anthropic's Claude Code with its Subagent model, OpenAI's Codex, and autonomous agents like Devin. The category is unsettled, but the direction of travel is consistent, and it points away from the text editor entirely. 3 things will tell us whether this holds. First, permissions. Whether event-triggered agents get scoped, revocable credentials, or inherit whatever the developer has. Second, audit trails. Autonomous processes acting on production repositories need logs that a human can reconstruct after the fact. Third, adoption by the people it was arguably built for. If solo founders and small teams actually run these workflows unattended, the model works. If they quietly turn the triggers off, it doesn't. A 2-line changelog entry rarely announces a shift in what a category is. Occasionally, one does, and this one is worth watching closely.